with that.
Definitely, let's talk about our experiences with VTubing. That's probably going to be the title. Our experiences with VTubing. So you said you've been gone for 3 years. How do you feel things have changed? Just running, like dive into it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So much has changed. I think, the technology has changed so much. I feel like a real boomer right now because I'm like a boomer. Get it?
Oh, that's funny. She said boomer.
Because everything feels so shiny and new and different. And I'm like, whoa, well, you can do that and this and that.
Yeah.
And I think the community, the culture has changed a lot. There's, I think just, so much has changed. And at the same time, a lot of things feel the same. Like, you know.
They really do.
It's just, it's a strange feeling, to be honest.
It's strange in what way? Just familiar but unfamiliar? Or how would you...
I think that's the case. Yeah, familiar but unfamiliar. Like, I feel like...
It all looks the same, but it feels a little different.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like, I've done this before. Like, I've been here before, but then I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel very out of my element. Maybe it's because I'm not really doing a re-debut and kind of just jumping back into it. So it feels a little less like I'm prepared and more like, oh my gosh, I'm diving into it. I don't know what's going on.
I get you. How do I feel things have changed in about 3 years? I definitely feel that it's gotten more attention. It's gotten more media attention. It's gotten more everything attention. When I kind of got into the medium about 4 years ago, people made fun of me and called me cringe.
Really?
And now, yeah. I mean, because for anybody that doesn't know, I've been streaming. Well, I live inside a human woman. So I infected a human woman. And one of the reasons I infected her to live inside of her is because she was a streamer for about a really long time. Since about like, I think 11. And basically, it wasn't friends, but it was like people that you routinely like, just because you work with people doesn't mean you're, the closest of friends, unlike us. But back then, it's like you collab with people often, you hang out with them, you think they're cool, they think you're cool, but it's not for you. For example, I could call you with a real life problem and you will be there for me.
Yeah.
And if you're not able to be there for me, or communicate that. But those are just, they're kind of more on the coworker, the people I'm talking about. But yeah, when I began VTubing, they all make fun of me, call me, and like it came back to me anyway. And now they're getting into VTubing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I did have somebody reach out to me for help, and I just, like forgive and forget, move on. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I know that some people were, not talking very positively about me and my changes. And now for them to turn around and, hey, do you think you can help me with like, I just have some questions about VTubing.
That's funny. You're the senpai now.
Yeah. So I feel it's just gotten a lot more accepted. It's gotten a lot more normalized. And I just feel there's a lot more people who maybe were not, because initially to get into VTubing, you kind of had to know a little bit about like some Japanese culture. I feel like you had to be at least a little bit into anime or at least a little bit into stuff. Otherwise, you kind of wouldn't get some stuff. But now I think you can watch a VTuber, for example, especially on Twitch. You can watch a big independent VTuber and they themselves might have very little knowledge or love of Japan. And it's okay. It's accepted. It's fine.
Yeah, there's different
because
types of
VTubing has kind of evolved. Yeah. And I think that's kind of cool. I know you said last time, like, it's cool to keep your hobby pure, but it's just fun to see that how much it's evolved and how many people can get into this.
I don't mean that like.
No, I know.
Yeah, I think it's cool to see like the different, like you have so many different types of VTubers. It's not just anime girl, but
it's also safer. Let's be honest about that. Like getting into VTubing can be safer than streaming regularly.
Oh, I thought you meant
because
like
you get
being
to
an anime girl.
Oh, no. Like you get to basically like maybe protect your identity. Maybe, like if you, back then when you started streaming, sorry, I'm jumping the gun on some of these questions. When you started streaming, your coworkers might find out, your friends, your family. Yeah. If you're, I don't know, a toaster, you're a toaster VTuber, chances are your family might not even find you.
Yeah. When I started VTubing, I was a fan of VTubers for some time before then. Mm-hmm. And I tried to, how do I say? I've talked about this long time ago in the past. So I guess it's okay if I bring it up again. I tried to
talk about it again.
Yeah, I auditioned for a company and my video was not even looked at. So because I had no experience, I had never streamed before. I've never ever done anything.
Which is fair.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Like I get it.
No, I 100% got it. And so I was just like, okay, I need the experience. So I became a VTuber to and then I just ended up really, I wasn't gonna know, or I didn't know exactly if I would enjoy streaming, or I didn't know how it was gonna turn out, if anyone would even watch me, but here I am today, and I love it so much, and super grateful. It's literally changed my afterlife. So yeah.
You touched on something really interesting about VTubing or just streaming in general. I get a lot of questions sometimes on stream about, oh, I want to start streaming, but da-da-da-da-da. Just eliminate everything else, start streaming.
Yeah.
Because you might not even like it.
It's true.
You might not even like streaming, or you might want to try different things, but just try it, first of all.
Yeah.
Forget all the buts, because you could have tried, and first of all, the company that didn't look at your resume, with how much there is with streaming, with how many things you have to learn and to do, I completely get it.
I could have been a
they
liability.
saw no experience. Oh my goodness, absolutely.
I could have joined and then be like, I hate doing this, and quit. It's so obviously they would want someone with more content creation or streaming experience than me. So I don't at all think of it as like a bad thing, because and the thing is too, is at that time, afterwards I felt really sad, because all I knew were Japanese VTubers. So I only knew like Kizuna Ai and Kaguya Luna and these VTubers that had big company backings. And I was just like, oh, there's no way I can get into this. But then when I discovered more Western VTubers and stuff like that, and I was like, oh my gosh, wait, they're doing exactly what I want to do. And they're doing it on their own. Like I, for some reason, didn't think that was possible.
That's fair.
So it was kind of a big moment for me. It would be like, oh my gosh, what?
I can do this too.
Yeah.
So you discovered that back then, and you got into VTubing. The thing is, nowadays you could say, we kind of have this joke of everyone's a VTuber. Eventually, everybody becomes a VTuber. There are so many VTubers. Do you feel it's worth getting into VTubing today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I think if you want to stream, but if you want that little bit of anonymity or whatever, I think VTubing today is just a branch of regular streaming, and streamers I don't think are going away. So
no,
it's just a different type of streaming, and I think it's hard. I don't know. It depends on what kind of, or not depends. How do I say this? Sorry, I'm not good at.
It's okay. You're doing great.
Like sometimes people will look at VTubers like from the outside of the VTuber world and say, "This is weird. Why don't they just? Why aren't they just a person? Like why do they have to be like this anime person?
Yeah,
sorry that I'm anime. I can't help it. It's just I'm born anime."
But I think when it comes to that, it's the same as a few years ago when, people would go on, those late night shows and say, I stream a video game. And those old hosts would say, well, why don't people just play the game themselves? Why are they watching you play the game? And because VTubing is newer, now it's like the same exact stuff that people said to streaming, they're now saying to VTubing. Next it's going to be something else, but it's the same stuff. Oh, why are you?
True. Yeah. I don't know. I really love VTubing though. I think I don't think I would have been comfortable streaming.
That's fair.
Normally. I think I have to be a VTuber.
I feel it is worth getting into VTubing. I actually believe it has a lower barrier to entry than regular streaming because a lot of times with regular streaming, if you show your face, that's one thing. But if you don't show your face, then the stream is kind of lacking a little something. And you don't have to show anything on stream. But I think VTubing there's this saying, I don't know if you ever heard of it, where it's if you put on a mask, you are the most yourself. It's kind of some form of that saying.
Yeah.
I feel that way. As a theater kid, as everything, you just feel more yourself. You feel more like right now, I'm talking at you. I'm wiggling my whole body. I'm shaking. I'm in, because you know how I talk. I talk with my whole body.
Yeah.
And I just feel like sometimes it can get a little overwhelming when you're on stream, for example, as a person, you're so perceived. You're so kind of like, oh, everyone's looking. I really think VTubing is super worth getting into. I think it's worth exploring. And I think it has a really low barrier to entry. You can just have, actually, this is, I guess, a next question. Do you need an expensive model? I'm answering the next question. Oh, you don't have $10,000. Should you get into VTubing?
I don't remember how much my first model was. This is not my first look. This is actually my 2.0 look. And
but it's gotten really expensive.
Oh,
a lot of riggers have. I know this because actually one of my friends just got into VTubing, Barry Crape, and she was telling me, like, especially as a small streamer, it was. And again, I'm as a smaller streamer, everybody's waiting lists are booked out. It's hard to get in touch with some big riggers. They don't follow her back, for example, and it costs a lot of money. So it's gotten a lot pricier because it's kind of gaining traction and popularity.
I think there are, levels to that. There's going to obviously be people that will, do for cheaper. But honestly, like, rigging is such a intricate and difficult art. And honestly, and also just drawing the models, because you have to, like, the mamas have to.
You need the illustration.
Yeah, like there's all the different parts and everything. Like, it's very, sorry if this is a little, how to say, behind the curtain, I suppose. But
I always say that. I think it's fine. I think it's people, I think in general are curious about this. I think it's a good one. I don't want anybody in the comments saying, oh, learn how to rig your own model. Because listen, you can do anything in life, but not everything. I don't think anybody's going to be saying that, to be honest. No, people say that. Sometimes when I see people complaining about prices, they'll be like, just learn how to rig your own model. No, it's not happening for me. It's not happening. Do you need an expensive model? No. Start with a Fugi, for example, which is like a reactive image. Yeah. So have one with your mouth open, just an illustration. One with your mouth closed. When you talk, mouth opens. Have a little PNG. Have a chibi, for example, avatar. Usually costs a lot less money than like a full model. You don't need something expensive to start. But it's just these same conversations were happening 10 years ago, 13 years ago when I was streaming. Oh, I can afford a really expensive computer. I can afford. Okay, start with what you have.
Yeah.
Like, as your stream grows, as you grow and develop, you then get more things, buy more stuff, get better, improve. There is something so magical about your audience seeing your improvement over time and growing with you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I started streaming on a gaming laptop. It was a laptop in my closet. And
right, you did have the closet.
And I had my Focusrite as my interface, and it peaked, and it. I mean, I still have so much trouble with audio today, anyway. But
audio is the bane of my existence.
It's so difficult. It's so difficult. Yep. But yeah, like I just kind of went in with a goal, and so if you're really serious about it, you can start with, a little bit. You don't have to start with everything. You don't have to start being like, I need to have the most up-to-date mic. I need to have the most up-to-date interface. I need to have my computer at the best specs. Like, just kind of take it at your own pace. And again, if you truly love doing this, and if you can continue forward with it, then you can do the upgrades. But
yeah,
it's a process.
Because too many people get everything and then they stream for a little bit and realize, I don't actually enjoy streaming.
Or, life happens. What if something happens, you aren't able to stream for some time? Like, something could happen, like hopefully not, but
yeah, knock on wood. What the hell?
I'm just saying, like, what if you get really busy with
cursing
work?
You.
Is what I'm saying is like, yeah. Like, what if you have a big project at work and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't stream for the next couple of weeks? Like, I'm not saying it's something bad is gonna happen. I'm saying just something could happen. What if you have to go on a work trip and you're gone for I don't know, a month? It's something like that.
Yeah.
Like, stuff happens. So just kind of.
Speaking of money.
Oh, money.
Do you feel like you need a big lore? Like you need a fancy debut. You who's not doing a fancy debut tomorrow. But there's a difference, right? Because you're, we have the podcast, for example.
Right.
I am fairly well established. I'll let you say this. I don't know what I can and cannot say. So it's kind of different, right? Like, we don't want to tell people you don't need anything, but do you think people need a big lore and a crazy debut?
I don't think so. I think if you want that, that's totally, if you find that fun, if you're just like, I love that creative process, then go for it. That is all you, baby girl. You do that, but I don't even think I had a lore. I don't think when I debuted, I had a lore. I created a video that was like an introduction video, but I didn't. And I thought about it. I was like, maybe I should have like some sort of backstory or something, like to explain myself further. But I just never did it. And I've seen other Vtubers that have even hand-drawn silly videos themselves, took them maybe, I don't know, this is a ballpark, maybe like 2 days or something. So, and it was silly and whatever. And, I think if you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get an animation, I have to get this big lore, I have to commission someone to write this whole thing for me, I think it's, I don't know. I don't think it's completely necessary. What about you?
I think once you get popularity and are popular, I think investing back makes a lot of sense. But if you are starting out, I think there's something really magical about, same thing with the computer. You start off, kind of, I guess scuffed is a good word. It starts off like homemade, makeshift, homemade, and then it gets better and better. That being said, I think having some sort of identity at your debut is really important. Because you don't need to know. Oh, yes.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
You don't need to know every single detail, but I think you need a starting point. In order to know, like, how do I say this? You don't need to know every single stop of where you're going to stop and rest, but you kind of need to know your destination. And that's why I think having a little bit something, but it could be, like you said, it could be PowerPoint. It could be hand-drawn by yourself. It could be little puppets. It doesn't not have to be a $10,000, $15,000 lore video. But having something where new fans will come in and kind of know it's branding. It works. It helps. People should come in and kind of have, because when you're a smaller streamer, you don't have a brand built around you yet. And having anything that helps you create that branding is helpful.
See, for me, I often think that many people either abandon their lore or like people forget about it in a lot of cases. But it also depends on how willing you are to keep that up. And but I like what you said earlier, that you're saying that getting...
Wait, you like me?
No, I said I like what you said.
You love me. Oh my God. How could you say that? I'm blushing.
Stop it. That's not what I said.
Okay, sorry, go on.
What did I say?
You said, I like you.
No,
I'm in love
I
with
said-
you, actually. And that's what I'm trying to confess right now.
I like what you said about how getting the lore video and stuff done can seem kind of like giving back to the community. And like, because you're, obviously you have to commission artists, you have to commission people. So, no, that makes a lot of sense. I never actually, I'll be honest, I never thought of it in that kind of way. So,
I think of it as, we talked about it a little bit before about kind of, I didn't really, I feel very comfortable like not telling my momos about every plan that I have because I want them to be surprised. I want them to enjoy it. I want them to be shocked. And that's how I feel like I'm giving back, where I'm creating a world and I'm creating things for them to really enjoy. And when I posted the lore video with, I guess it's a lore video, I don't know what it is, the podcast animation, right? Which if you haven't seen it, I guess we'll link it in the description of the video.
Have you uploaded it to the channel?
I haven't. I should upload it.
Yeah, you should.
Actually, no, let's keep it on my channel so it can get some views.
Oh,
No, I'm
okay.
kidding. I'll upload.
Okay.
No, I'll upload it here.
No.
It's just that this channel wasn't, it wasn't public when I uploaded
Right.
When I uploaded the animation for that, my Discord was just filled with everybody was clipping every single reaction. And now a ton of my emotes are the reactions of like, everybody was just going, that Momo, that's me. This Momo, that's me.
That's cute.
People really like that. And I love that. It makes it all worth it. Cause you know how long I've worked on that lore.
Oh, I know.
You remember being in call with me and I'm typing it?
I know. And me being like, wait.
One comment you said, you're like, I can tell you wrote this.
Oh, yes.
I have a style of humor and writing where you're like, oh, Mata.
It's true.
But I like that. I feel like when you watch that, you can tell it's mine and it's ours because I give it to the community. So this is why I think it's important to kind of start with something. I know you said something interesting about people abandon their lores. I don't think that's bad. I don't think abandoning or changing your lore is bad. Because maybe at the start you kind of invented something and then you want to change. That being said,
No, I'm not. Hold on. I'm not saying. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying like someone will have they'll come out with a lore video that costs them so much money, and they're like, I am the darkest. I am the evil demon of the underworld, and I am so bad. And then they're just like, hi guys, I'm me. Like they're the not to say like the gap is bad, but it's like a contrast. Or like it's like they presented themselves as this in their lore video, but the way they stream is like, entirely different. Like in a week they're just like they kind of drop the character and are just like, oh, la 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 la.
But again, if they haven't streamed much, then maybe they think that they can kind of sustain it, and then I get that.